Pleasure to meet you.
Hi, how are you?
Hey, pleasure to meet you, Karen. How are you?
You too. I'm good, thanks. Well, thank you
Good
for
stuff.
thank you for taking the time out today. I appreciate it.
Not at all. Not at all. It's lovely to see you.
You too. Thanks. Okay, so I wanted to get started asking about how you became involved in starring in the film and what really interested you in the character and just the overall script as well.
I, Karen, I love the nature of this project that it hadn't been done before, and I was very excited working with Stephen. I love the survivalist. I loved how raw his first movie was in 2015. I loved how he worked with the actor Marty McCann in The Survivalist. As an audience member, I thought he was pulling off stuff that I'd never seen before. It was quite visceral and dangerous. And I was an old friend of Ben Conway's, and I've always been a big supporter of him. And he's one of my best friends. You know, we go back a long way, and we had just done a short before that, him and I, in Ireland. And I just loved the script. And when Stephen, who I had been talking to for years, offered me a role, he said, have a read of the script and choose your role. It's not every day that happens for actors, you know. Not at this stage anyway. One day I hope it happens more. But he goes, take your pick. And Budger's written as a 25-year-old young buck. And I said, well, I'm 34 now, mate, but I want to play him, dude. I want to play that guy. So he was like, grand, it's yours. I was like, huh? He's like, it's yours. Let's do it. And that's what I love about working with Stephen. He's all in. And it's so rare these days. One would think that it would be easier. That should be the way it is all the time, you know, in an ideal world. So we got cracking. We got cracking on it in January lockdown and February lockdown, this time last year. And we all got cracking.
Speaking of being able to work with Stephen on the film, what was that experience like once production began to really work with him in building the character, and what was that just experience like?
From the very get-go, he was in Northern Ireland, Ben was in Sligo, Paul Kennedy was up north in Belfast, I was down home in Waterford. We were all separated by different restrictions. So that added an element of, we're kind of, you know, men on a mission here, you know. We want to pull off a one-take heist movie. Stephen had made me feel welcome and part of it from the get-go as a team player. I do think that I don't think this could have worked if I just showed up on set day one. It's not that kind of project. So Stephen would be like, you know, what are any lines you want to change? Let's go through every single line. What we want to make this closer to you, Mo. So it was very, very generous. I had a really positive time working with him. I just chatted to him last night, actually. The guy cracks me up because his imagination is just extraordinary. And working with him as an actor, he will say things. He will say things and go off in tangents, and then he will come back and you go, that is genius. How, what? You know, he really elevates Ben's script. Whereas it's really exciting working with him. I'm not saying it's easy. You know, there were times we had many disagreements, disagreements over the nature of the character. But to feel like you can say something to your director. He reminds me, you know, I used to collect Empire magazine and movie magazines as a kid, you know, and you hear about your heroes rehearsing or having squabbles on the movies of the 70s, the Gene Hackman movies or the Coppola movies. And that kind of reminds me of Stephen, you know, because I'm not saying he doesn't play by the book. He's incredibly professional, but he goes out, thinks outside the box, and that's what's really exciting. And that's what I'm proud of on this movie is that collaboration with him and Ben. You know.
And also, speaking about, like you mentioned, the one-shot nature of the film and the cinematography, and I also wanted to ask a little bit more about that experience for you, especially when you're driving and a lot of those scenes are in the car, and maybe you really figured out how you wanted the physicality in terms of the camera and that sense of the character.
I'm still trying to figure out how I did that, to be honest with you, Karen. luck. No, we rehearsed for a few days, for about a week, and we shot one take each night for 6 nights. And we had a dream team. You know, we just had a dream team doing this. The van in front, I would follow a van every night, and there would be a set route, and we would rehearse segments of the film over the rehearsal days. And then on one of the last nights of rehearsal, we'd put it all together, and we'd do a run like a play, you know. You wish the other actors good luck, see you at the other side, kind of thing. And then we'd shoot and just hope for the best and stay in it. And sometimes the energy might be wrong, or sometimes might be missing this or might be missing that. And when you're doing it, it can be quite intense, you know, because the script originally is quite not happy-go-lucky, but it's quite, you know, it's kind of light, but just cheeky chappy. But you know, as it sort of went on, and time goes, and days have gone by, and you have like less days to get the thing right. Things inform it, and one of the things we were inspired by Michael Mann, and we're inspired by, you know, say Heat and those stoic figures. And Stephen would say to me, "Bud, she is the ice heartbeat of a vampire." Now, at the time, I hadn't a clue what he meant, but that was one of those examples where, you know, okay, buddy, yeah, all right. Where this guy wants to get out, you know, and that classic story, you know, one last night, this is the last time he's ever going to do this. And he's more like a commander to his men that work under him, you know, so he's done this a lot. And sometimes the fear would kick in as an actor, you know, where you go, oh, this is a daunting thing, having all this technical stuff on you, you know. And sometimes you have to kind of go and face yourself. You go, you can do this. This story is worth it. And the story is worth it because, you know, we all love any story about anybody who wants to leave go a part of their past, which they're not happy about, move on for a better life, a happier life, be with your love, whoever it is. And, you know, that's storytelling. That's movie making. And I like where the movie gets to. We just had to earn it. And yeah, I had an amazing crew, you know, amazing cast. They were there for me each night. We were all in it together. Jared Jordan, he reminds me of the Irish Anthony Hopkins. He's so open, and so every night it's different. Every night he's there and he's ready to go. He's a team player. He's very, very scary on camera, you know, very intimidating. He's a lovable. He's just a lovable teddy bear. And Joanne Ribeiro, she's just exudes this grace and this strength. And Kieran Flynn, and the conversation that they would have about Michael Mann or movies, you know, there's it would bring out all these different qualities in Butch, and you know, that was the joy in filming it.
And speaking about also the rest of the cast, and especially when you're driving in the car and having the phone conversations, what was that experience like for you to really have a lot of scenes with your co-stars like through the phone calls and that aspect of filming as well?
It's funny, you know, because I found out who was doing the voice calls, and they're all actors I really admire. You know, Stephen Ray came in, and I worked with Stephen before. He's great. He's Stephen Ray. He's an amazing actor, and him as Joe, he's so menacing, you know. And when you hear the actors' voices on the phone calls, it's like Budge has to change accordingly to each of them to show how he kind of shifts, you know, and gets the job done. There were a lot of great actors there. I worked with a girl, Ellie O'Halloran. She played my daughter once in Rosie, and she plays Cuz, and she gives a gorgeous performance in this. So yeah, the trouble is sometimes when you get too used to something, it's the surprises that make it enjoyable. And when the surprises hit me as Budge doing this, Yeah, because I'm quite stoic driving, you know. That's the way I'm doing it. And when the surprises happen, things that aren't expected, that's when it kind of became fun. You know, when you let go and when you don't care, when you just go with it. Um, no matter what happened, if Jared got pulled over by a policeman, so be it. We'd stay in character. If I got pulled over like I did, you'd stay in character, and that makes the movie. I think that makes it better. Luckily, I was following a van in front, so I wasn't like driving blind. You know, I was, yeah. And the streets were locked down, so there weren't many people, so that made it a lot easier.
Mhm. And also, I wanted to ask about also producing the film as well, and what that experience was like to kind of balance the producing with the acting as well.
Oh no, I purely after the movie is finished shooting, I just said, lads, I can give a hand here. I have a good few contacts here in Ireland as is. I get it into a festival here, and I got into New York on the 5th at Crack Film Festival and the 1st in Dublin Film Festival. It's the beauty of Ireland. There's a lot of good people here, and I was able to give a helping hand and hope that I might get something out of it at the end. It's more of a fun thing to do. The heavy lifting was done by John Silk and Paul Kennedy, and they did everything to make everything safe in this job. To work with a producer like John and Paul and see how they work behind the scenes. So calm, so easy, chill. What I loved about that was I was an experience I'd never had before as an actor, is in rehearsals you're involved in all the conversations, and that I think that helped this movie, where you can go, okay, this is our map of Belfast, this is the line we're doing, this is where you're parking your car, what kind of car do you want to drive within our budget. Those kind of conversations. Yeah. Who are you working with? Who's all that kind of stuff. I found that very helpful, and that a lot of that is to do with that team, John, Paul, and Stephen, for being generous. And we wouldn't have made this movie if it weren't for those guys and this crew. It's me in front of the camera, but this crew is incredible. Yeah, I've never worked so closely with a camera team. They're incredible.
And then just one more question I wanted to ask. Like you mentioned the film festivals and now the upcoming release. What's that experience been like of really bringing the film to the festivals and having the official distribution?
It's such great news. I'm so excited. I'm so excited, because I don't know how many times we're going to get a big screening. We always hoped that it would be in a cinema, but the way things are, in the past 2 years that we've had, streaming is amazing. It's coming on Netflix UK, which is fantastic. But I mean, we as I said about Stephen, he reminds me of the 1970s filmmakers, and it's gritty, and Dave Bird cinematography. You want it to be on a big screen, because you talk about an edge of your seat theme, but you do want the audience to be at the edge of your seat, and you do want the audience to feel something towards the end together. I love that idea that the audience are in a crowded theater watching this together, because I believe there's a shift in the movie later on that's worthwhile, and I hope they feel good. I hope they go on a date and see the movie at the festivals. I'm very excited about Dublin Film Festival in particular. We all are. All of the cast are going. All of them. Everybody who's done a voice. All the crew are coming over. Joanna's coming over from Portugal. I'm so excited for that. Yeah. Because here's another thing about Stephen is he cares about young filmmakers. He cares about the state of film in Ireland and around the world, and he knows film so much that in the pandemic, in a lockdown, for a little budget, what you can achieve with a small crew, with a minimum budget, with one take. There's a part I'm really proud of what he achieved and our trust in him. I'm excited for people to see it and see him on his second film. I'm proud to work with him on his second feature. I've always wanted to, and that's that's a dream come true for me, because I think there's young filmmakers out there that can be inspired, and I think that the nature of filmmaking right now is changing. And I think it's people like Stephen that can drive the way forward.
Okay, great. Thank you very much again for taking the
Thank you
time
very
out.
much.
Mhm. Okay, thanks again.
Bye
Bye.
bye. Bye.